I trusted my doctor more than anyone. That might have been my first mistake. My wife and I had been trying for a baby for almost 4 years. Infertility treatments, injections, surgeries, money we didn't have. And finally, after our third IVF attempt, it worked. She was pregnant. I cried in the parking lot when the nurse told us. Our doctor, Dr. Keller, congratulated us like he was part of the family. Said this was his favorite success story. Texted my wife late at night to check on her symptoms. At first, I thought he was just dedicated. Then I noticed how my wife smiled when his name came up on her phone. Too softly, too personally. The first red flag came during an ultrasound. The technician left the room, and Dr. Keller came in alone. He barely looked at the screen, just at my wife, smiled and said, "You're glowing lately." Not, "The baby looks healthy." Not, "Everything's fine." Just that. Later in the car, I joked, "I think your doctor has a crush on you." She snapped, hard, "Don't be paranoid. He's the only reason we even have this baby." That word stuck with me. Have, not made. Have. The discovery came from a voicemail. I borrowed my wife's phone to call mine, and a message started playing automatically. Her voice whispering, "I'm scared. What if it looks like you?" Then a man laughed. Dr. Keller's voice. I already fixed that problem. I almost dropped the phone. The message ended with her saying, "If my husband ever finds out, we'll say the clinic made a mistake." The clinic, not us. That's when my hands started shaking so badly I had to sit down, because suddenly I wasn't sure the baby inside my wife was mine, and I wasn't sure the man helping us have a child was only our doctor. I didn't confront her. Not that night. Not the next day. I acted normal, smiled, rubbed her belly, asked how she was feeling. Inside, I was falling apart. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I opened her laptop. No password. She never hid things from me before. Big mistake. There was a folder on the desktop called IVF. Inside, invoices, medical reports, and emails. Dozens of emails. Between my wife and Dr. Keller. Not about hormones. Not about symptoms. About timing. About matching blood types. About making sure he never suspects. And one line that made my chest tighten. I told him the embryo was from a sample. He believed it. Believed it. So there had been another option. Another sample. Another man. The next twist came from the lab. I pretended I needed copies of our records for insurance. The nurse printed them without thinking. I sat in my car and read every line. And then I saw it. On the fertilization report. Donor ID. K 417. That wasn't my ID. Mine was K 302. Different number. Different column. Different father. The embryo implanted in my wife was not created from my sperm. I drove home shaking. When I walked in, my wife was on the phone, whispering, "I know, but he's starting to look." Pause. Then, "Promise me the baby will be yours." Not his. Yours. Not mine. I hired a private lab that same week, paid extra for speed, gave my sample, asked for a prenatal paternity test using fetal DNA from her blood. They said results would take 5 days. 5 days felt like 5 years. During that time, Dr. Keller suddenly scheduled extra appointments, started showing up unannounced in exam rooms, once even put his hand on my wife's belly and said, "Our little miracle." Our, not yours, not hers, our. The results came on a Friday night. Email subject, paternity test results available. My hands were numb when I opened it. I read the line 3 times before it made sense. Probability of paternity, 0%. The baby was not mine, not even close. And worse, the biological father's genetic profile matched Dr. Keller. I confronted her that night. No yelling, no screaming. I just put the DNA report on the table and said quietly, "It's his." She stared at the paper for a long time. Then she closed her eyes and nodded, didn't deny it, didn't even look surprised. She whispered, "Please, let me explain." She told me everything. Dr. Keller had suggested it during our second failed IVF. Said my sperm might not be strong enough. Said he had very high-quality samples. Said no one would ever know. She said she was desperate. That she just wanted a baby. That she didn't think I'd care as long as we were parents. Then she said the sentence that destroyed whatever was left. He promised to leave his wife for me after the birth. So this wasn't an accident. It was a plan. A family. Without me. The next twist came from the clinic. The very next morning, all our records were gone. The IVF portal said, "No active files." The nurse suddenly refused to talk to me. The lab said they had no memory of our donor IDs. And Dr. Keller? He didn't show up to work. His office was empty. His phone disconnected. The clinic sent me an email saying, "Dr. Keller has taken emergency leave. We assure you no irregularities occurred." That's when I understood. This wasn't just one corrupt doctor. The clinic was protecting him, covering it up, erasing the crime. My wife tried to leave. 2 nights later, I came home to find suitcases by the door. She was crying, saying she was going to stay with her sister. I checked her phone. One last message from Dr. Keller. "Come now. I have a place ready. We'll raise him together." Together. I called the police before she could step outside. Showed them the DNA report, the emails, the voicemail, everything. They didn't arrest her. Not yet, but they took statements. And they put a hold on her passport. That night, she sat on the floor and whispered, "He ruined everything." No, she did. The arrest happened at the airport. 2 days after my wife tried to run, Dr. Keller was boarding a flight to Switzerland when police stopped him at the gate. They found 3 passports in his bag, large amounts of cash, and a flash drive. Inside were clinic backups he hadn't had time to delete, patient lists, embryo transfer logs, hidden donor records, and something that made investigators go quiet. There were 5 other women, 5 IVF patients whose embryos had been fertilized with his sperm, without their consent, without their husband's knowledge. This wasn't an affair. This was a system. The news exploded overnight. Fertility doctor accused of secretly fathering patients' babies. Cameras outside the clinic. Federal investigators inside. The clinic director resigned the same day. They found altered databases, deleted donor IDs, fake signatures. The clinic had covered up at least 3 complaints before mine. 3 women who suspected something. 3 women they told were paranoid. My wife was arrested a week later. Not for cheating, for conspiracy and fraud. She gave a full statement. Said Keller convinced her it was the only way. Said the clinic promised to protect them. Said she believed I would never find out. She admitted they planned a divorce after the birth and claimed I had abandoned her. Another story. Another lie. The trial lasted months. Keller faced charges of sexual assault, medical fraud, tampering with genetic material, and human trafficking laws. The prosecutor called it reproductive assault. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison, permanent loss of license, no parole for at least 10. The clinic was shut down. Owners sued. Doctors banned. My wife avoided prison by testifying, but she lost everything else. The marriage, the house, custody rights. When the judge finalized the divorce, she looked at me and whispered, "I never meant to hurt you." I didn't answer, because the man she hurt didn't exist anymore. The baby was born 3 months later. A boy, healthy, perfect. I wasn't in the delivery room. I was sitting in my car outside the hospital, staring at my hands, trying to decide who I was now. Legally, the baby was still mine. We were married when he was conceived. My name was on every form. The court hadn't changed anything yet. When the nurse brought him out for me to see, my wife was asleep. The baby opened his eyes and looked straight at me, and something inside me broke. Not anger, not betrayal, grief. This child had done nothing wrong. He didn't choose his DNA. He didn't choose his parents. And in that moment, I realized the hardest truth of all. If I walked away, he would grow up knowing his biological father was a criminal and his mother was a liar, with no one left to protect him. The next twist shocked everyone. I filed for full custody, not to take revenge, to take responsibility. My lawyer thought I was insane. My family begged me not to. My wife cried and said I was trying to punish her. But in court, I said one simple thing. He may not be my biological son, but I am the only safe parent he has. The judge ordered psychological evaluations, background checks, home studies, and then did something unprecedented. He terminated my wife's primary custody because she had planned the crime, because she had endangered the child, and he granted custody to me, the husband who wasn't the father, the man who had been betrayed, the only adult who had never lied to that child. Here's my final update. It's been 5 years. My son is 4 now. He calls me dad. He loves dinosaurs. He hates broccoli. He sleeps with his head on my arm every night. My ex moved to another state. She gets supervised visits twice a year. She never mentions Dr. Keller. I never tell my son the full story. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And here's what I learned, and what I hope saves someone reading this. Being a parent is not about DNA. It's about who shows up when everything falls apart. That doctor tried to steal my family. My wife tried to erase me. The clinic tried to bury the truth. But in the end, the child stayed with the only person who chose him. I lost a marriage. I lost my old life. But I gained a son, and that is the only ending that matters.